What is good, YouTube? This is your boy Aaron.
It's Bryant.
This is the Courtside podcast, and we are back today, and we are talking about the NBA. And it's a lot that we need to discuss, a lot that we need to address. Last week we talked about ring culture. I didn't think of all the other comments that were made. I thought that, hey, whatever. But then people went on social media and started criticizing Gilbert Arenas and Tracy McGrady in regards to Kobe Bryant. And I just thought, you know what? Let's come on here and make a topic of it because I've been battling this for my whole life when it comes to Kobe's legacy. People try to downplay his legacy. So I felt like, you know what, let's come here and let's talk about it. So if you don't know, Gilbert Arenas, he was on ESPN, and when he was talking about ring culture, mainly LeBron's comments, he then brought up Kobe Bryant and how supposedly back then they were saying he was a sidekick because he wasn't the best player on his own team. He was, we'll get into that if he was a sidekick or not. But and then he said they were saying he was the next Pippen. Like, okay. And then Tracy McGrady also made some comments about how if he was inserted into that Lakers team replacing Kobe Bryant at that time, that he would have a ring. So the Twitter sphere went up in shambles. People were going crazy, talking about Tracy McGrady, Gilbert Arenas don't know what they're talking about, a bunch of receipts. And now we're here. And I want to talk about it because I'm a Kobe fan. I'm a Lakers fan. I grew up on Kobe. So I think I have a good idea of who Kobe was during those times. And I want to get to Gilbert Arenas' point. He did address it. He did say he was wrong. He said yesterday with Lowe from Legend of Winning that he was wrong about the Pippen sidekick comments. But I'm going to still stay there because I've debated with people in the past about this, and they believe that Kobe got carried. Kobe was just a sidekick. Shaq was the main reason why they won. And I want to address this because by far those comments are so ignorant that just lets me know you didn't watch Kobe, you didn't watch those teams back in the day, and you're just going off of stupid barbershop narratives when that was not the case. So first of all, let me share my screen. I want to show something real quick. This is from 2002, 2003 from a GM survey. This is the first year that they did this. So let me share my screen real quick and show everybody what they were saying back then. So look at this. This is GM survey. So GMs, they gave their opinion on exactly what they felt was going to transpire in the 2003 season. So check this out. Predictions. Lakers, obviously, they just three-peated. Who will win MVP in 2003? They have Kobe tied for one with Shaq. I'm just saying, don't sound like a sidekick to me. Don't sound like somebody that was getting carried by Shaq. Sounds like a 1A, 1B. Tracy McGrady was at 5. He was great during that time, so no debate there. Let's see here. Most intense player, Kobe, 4. Who is the player most likely to make a last-second shot if a game depended on it? Kobe is at 1. Tracy McGrady ain't even in the top 5, ain't even in the top 4. He didn't even get no votes. Ooh. Let's see. Who else? Kobe. Which player do you most enjoy watching? Kobe Bryant. Tracy McGrady's at 3. Best shooting guard, Kobe Bryant. Tracy McGrady was obviously the best small forward during that time, but Kobe Bryant was overwhelmingly the best shooting guard at 92%. Let's see. What else we got? Let's see. Defense. Who is the best defender in the NBA? Kobe Bryant was tied for 3rd with Ben Wallace. Come on, man. Most versatile defender. Tracy McGrady was actually ahead of Kobe, but Kobe was still in the top 4. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Best ball handling, Kobe top 5. Best athleticism, Kobe was 3. I disagree with that. I don't think he was in top 3. Best basketball instincts, Kobe Bryant was top 3. Um, you get the point. You get the point. So this is what they were talking about back then in terms of how people view Kobe. And this was before 2002, 2003 started. This is after the 3-point. This was before he averaged 30 the next season when Shaq was hurt for a number of games that year. Okay, and then I have one more thing. Actually, we'll get to that later. But that just lets me know what they were saying back then. Brian, what is your thoughts on the comments regarding Kobe Bryant was a sidekick while he was with Shaq three-peating? What is your thoughts?
It's funny because we've been hearing this stuff for years and years and years. Then all of a sudden, once he passed away, them talks were silent for a good, like it was kind of taboo to say after that whole helicopter crash incident. Now all of a sudden they trying to reintroduce the narrative and the throwing dirt on Kobe as a player, especially them first 3P days when he was on the Lakers. Like, it's ridiculous to me. It's absolutely ridiculous because I don't understand how you can look at that Lakers team. Yes, like Shaq obviously was the most dominant player, but they do not go to the finals without Kobe Bryant. Like it's just the fact. Like Kobe was the leader of the team. How are you a sidekick and a leader? That doesn't even make sense.
That's facts.
Like think about it like this. If you know anything about comics, you know Batman and you know Robin. Robin is a savage. Like that dude is like is it Dick Grayson?
Dick Grayson, it could
Yeah.
be Tim Drake, it can be I forgot the other Robin's name.
One of them dudes is just straight up savage. I think it's the one that turns into Nightwing. But
Yeah, him. Yeah.
he's a
Jason Todd.
savage. Like
Jason Todd.
yeah, Jason Todd, he's a goon.
Mm-hmm.
But and you could argue that Jason Todd would whoop you up better than Batman would, worse than Batman would. But you wouldn't say that he's the leader of he's the head of the group. No. He's the sidekick. Kobe was the main dog on the Lakers. It's just that Shaq had the mismatch and the advantage against pretty much everybody in the league. But then there was moments where if Shaq did have a shaky game, guess who was there to save the day? Kobe Bryant. That don't sound like no sidekick to me. That sounds like someone who knows how to win for the betterment of the team. A man that could put his ego aside. Well, that's the
Well, no. I mean, in order for them to win, he had to put his ego aside during the game.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So I don't know. This sounds like a bunch of malarkey. Tracy McGrady, you have some nerve. Because if we pull up them playoff stats, and brother, has Tracy McGrady gotten out of the first round as the number one option?
No, he hasn't. And I was doing some research on Tracy McGrady. I had time, so I was watching. I was watching some of them 4 quarters. By the way, mini rant.
Mm-hmm.
NBA, why don't you have all of the Tracy McGrady playoff games on League Pass?
They don't.
Why is it that I can't find most of Tracy McGrady's playoff games? Y'all only have one playoff game from Tracy McGrady. One.
That's
one playoff game. And that is a huge problem because it's important to know your history. It's important to make sure that you don't let other people dictate how you feel about a certain individual, about a certain moment. Because when you let that happen, you can get manipulated. You can get tricked into believing in certain narratives that never existed. That's why the Tracy McGrady comments are important, because we cannot allow Tracy McGrady to rewrite history, or any of these people to rewrite history. I was listening to a YouTube channel by the name of Player's Choice. They do NBA. They do a lot of NBA discussion. And one guy came on Player's Choice and lied. He said that in 06, 07, and 08, the Kobe versus Tracy McGrady debates were at their peak, at their highest. I'm like, no, they were not. In what world was people debating about Kobe and Tracy McGrady in 06, 7, and 08? That never occurred. So it's important to understand your history. It's important to not let people tell you exactly what this was. Do your research.
Wait, that doesn't even make sense. So wait, they was debating Kobe versus Tracy McGrady when an 06 D Wade won a championship.
Yes,
that don't even make
that,
sense.
Yeah. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. It makes absolutely no sense. But anywho, what were you saying again? You were saying something. I kind of interrupted you on that one.
I think I got off everything I wanted to say.
Okay. So let me show you.
Yeah, I said because I was talking about Tracy McGrady. I said, did he even get out of the first round of the playoffs as the number one dude? And you was like, nope. And I was like, interesting.
Yeah, he didn't get out of the first round. I want to show you something real quick. Another thing that I've heard people say was like, "Oh, Kobe never had iconic moments in the finals or in the playoffs," which is BS. So let me share my screen real quick. This is just one game. This is if you guys remember, Game 7, 2000. The Lakers were down double digits. I think it was entering the fourth quarter. Let me show you the fourth quarter stats. Kobe Bryant was tied with Shaq. He scored 9 points. 3 for 6 from the free throw line, 3 for 7 from the field. He had that iconic assist to Shaq. Remember that? Kobe to Shaq. Yeah, that was Kobe who created everything. And he also hit a big time shot before that. So he hit a big time shot and then he dished off the lob to Shaq. And you're telling me Kobe didn't have no iconic moments in the playoffs. Kobe didn't have any iconic moments in the finals. Even in the same finals that people said Shaq carried Kobe, which in all fairness, he did, partially because Kobe got hurt. I think it was his ankle. He sprained his ankle or something like that. Even still, I think it may have been game 4 or 5. Shaq fouled out in OT. Kobe was clutch. He came through in the clutch. He took over the game and he won. And that was a pivotal game. So what are we talking about being carried? Kobe Bryant, if you're going to say Kobe was a sidekick while him and Shaq won championships, what was Magic Johnson? The first couple of rings. Because Kareem was the best player until 85. So was Magic Johnson the sidekick? If we're going by that logic, because, hey, Magic Johnson, by the time we get to, I think it was 84, he was an MVP caliber player. And in my opinion, an MVP caliber player is you are top 5 in MVP votes. I'm not just going to go off of, because you get some MVP votes that you're MVP caliber. No, in my opinion, MVP caliber, you are top 5 in MVP votes. That is MVP caliber. And by, I think it was 84, Magic was an MVP caliber player. So I'm just wondering, what's the difference between Magic and Kareem? Don't tell me because of the finals MVPs, because I think before Game 6 in 1980, Magic and Kareem was supposed to be slated to get the finals MVP over Magic. It's just because Magic had that historic game where he dropped nearly a triple-double and he played center position while Kareem was out in Game 6 that he won the finals MVP. And guess what? A couple of those championships, Kareem won finals MVP over Magic. And Magic won finals MVP over Kareem, even though Kareem was better than Magic. Just because you win finals MVP doesn't mean you're the best player on the team. Ask Jason Tatum.
Ask Steph Curry.
Ask Steph Curry. Great point. So that whole Ask Larry Bird, he didn't even win Finals MVP the first time he won a championship. That was Cornbread Maxwell. So don't give me that argument that, oh, just because this person won Finals MVP, they are significantly better and the other person is a sidekick. No, that's not how it works.
Jason Tatum.
Yes, come on now. Like we have to stop. We have to stop this. If you want to say, okay, Kobe, the first ring, he was kind of a sidekick, by all means, go have at it. I'm not going to debate you on that. But by the time we get to 2001, it was clear as day. It was 1A, 1B. And I was watching footage of Kobe back then. And guess what? All these people saying Shaq made Kobe better. Here's what I'll say. Shaq made the role players better. Kobe still had to get his. Kobe still had to create for himself. It wasn't like one of those things where, okay, Shaq is double teamed, Kobe has a wide open shot. No, it was not that at all. It was Shaq is double teamed, Kobe passed the ball, a defender is still there, so he has to create for himself. That's what happened. So all this BS about, oh, Shaq was this, Shaq was that. Shaq was dominant. Shaq made the other players better. Kobe still had to find a way to get his. Yeah. It wasn't like that at all. It was a lot more difficult than what people think.
You are absolutely right.
So yeah. And Tracy McGrady, I agree that I believe Tracy McGrady would have won one ring in 2001 because, listen, nobody was beating that 2001 team. It wasn't just because Kobe was fantastic, which he was, but in 2001, the Lakers were just too good. They were just too good. But if Tracy McGrady was on that team in 2000, they're not making it to the finals. 2002, they're not making it to the finals. I'll even go 2004. They're not making it to the finals. Those are three separate situations where if Tracy McGrady was on that squad, they're not making it to the final. You know why? Because Tracy McGrady didn't have that clutch gene. He didn't have the ability to hit clutch shots like Kobe did. Kobe was the closer of that team. Kobe made a lot of clutch plays. Kobe was tenacious. As great as T-Mac was, he wasn't nearly as good when it comes to hitting clutch shots as Kobe during that time. So it's not that simple. 2001, I'll give T-Mac that. 2001, I believe T-Mac would have won because Shaq was so dominant. That team was so dominant, and they ran through the Western Conference that year, if you remember. I think they did. They didn't lose a game that year. So I think T-Mac would have, if you inserted T-Mac in 01, I think they would have won a championship. Besides that, that's it. So.
Yeah, I don't know why we let T-Mac be a great player, but buddy, when it comes to playoff success, you shouldn't be doing much of any talking.
Yeah. And I was watching. We'll transition a little bit. I was watching some T-Mac footage of game. I think it was 3. He was in Orlando. They played Charlotte. They lost in overtime. And I was watching some other footage. I think it was against Detroit in 03, where they went up 3-1. He blew the 3-1 lead. And I watched him with the Rockets when they played the Utah Jazz, where he was favored in that series.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say this. And the Magic, when he was on the Magic, his team was so bad. Like, by the fourth quarter, he was worn out. He was done. You could tell he was exhausted. So I could understand why people would come out and give him excuses, because the team was god awful and he was exhausted. He was playing 45 minutes, 44 minutes, 50 minutes, because some of the games were in overtime. So I can understand that. But at the end of the day, some of his shots, you got to make some of the shots. If you're getting one-on-ones, you got to make some of the shots. Against the Utah Jazz was the most egregious of them all. Game 7, they were making a point of emphasis to give Yao Ming the ball in the fourth quarter. But there was other times where Tracy McGrady could have taken it upon himself to score. And when he got one-on-one coverage, I think it was Andre Kirilenko, he couldn't score over him. He couldn't do it. And then he would ask for a screen, and he knew that if he asked for a screen, they were going to trap him or they were going to hard hedge him. So why are you asking for a screen so much when you know that the double is going to come? And when he gets single covered, he had trouble scoring. So I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear. I'm sorry. I don't want to hear the injury excuse. Oh, his back was hurting. He was still really good that year. He was still regarded as one of the top players that year. I don't want to hear it. And Yao Ming was healthy. Yao Ming was healthy. It wasn't. I also hear the other argument. Oh, Yao Ming was never healthy. He was healthy in 05. He was healthy in 07. So where's the excuse? I don't want to hear. I don't. 05. They got blitz. They got blitz in Game 7 by the Mavericks, but he had an opportunity to win that series as well, especially in Game 6. Come on now. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I think I'm gonna put a bow on that one. Put a bow. I think we can transition to that. But I want to get to we'll get to the Bill Russell stuff later. But I want to get to the NBA draft. Let's go to NBA draft real quick because that happened a couple days ago, and I really want to talk. I'm excited about this because I wasn't familiar with Trey Johnson's game at all, and once I started to research some of the things about his game, so once I started to watch some highlights, the Wizards, I cannot believe this. That was an A+ pick. That was an A+ pick, man. I ain't gonna lie. Matter of fact, Brian, what was your reaction to the Trey Johnson pick? How do you feel right now?
Listen, before the draft even started, I'm gonna pull a LeBron. Before the draft even started, I said I want either Ace Bailey or Trey Johnson. And I was once the timer was going down, it was going down to the wire. I was like, okay, they're taking a long time for this pick. What they arguing? Who they should pick? I was like, please do not select Jeremiah Fears. And when Adam Silver came into the podium, he said Trey Johnson. I was like, yes. Let me tell you what I like about this pick so much. Played in the SEC. Yep. Tough conference, especially basketball. I think at a certain point in the last college basketball season, 4 of the top 5 teams were in the SEC. So I believe it was Auburn, Florida, Bama. No, was Bama ever?
Bama, yeah, Bama. I think they were top 2 seed that year.
Yeah, Florida, Auburn, Bama, and I believe the last one was. Who cares? It don't matter. The season's over.
Maybe it was Tennessee.
It might have been.
I don't know.
It might have been. It wasn't Arkansas, I'll tell you that much.
No, it wasn't Arkansas.
But I like this pick because I wanted to go in the draft. I looked at the Wizards roster and I'm like, man, we got good guys that you like role player type guys, but we need a dude that's a certified bucket. We need a dude that's going to go out there and average nearly 20 a game. And this guy, Trey Johnson, is that kind of prospect. He averaged 19 in the SEC, nearly shot 40% from 3. And it's not just catch and shoot threes. This dude, he's creating his own shot. He's in step backs. He's, crossing over, pulling up for 3. Like, this dude is a bucket from anywhere on the court. And I like he's not a small fry. I like that. The only knock on him really is he could kind of take plays off, and he kind of could get hunted in the pick and roll. Mm-hmm. But I feel like you can that's like effort stuff. Like, okay, whatever. As long as you just lock in for the 4 quarters, you good. But I really like this pick, man. Needed a bucket, wanted a bucket at the guard position. Yeah, this team is guard heavy, but none of those dudes can do what he can do. And we needed a bona fide shooter that can create a shot for him for his own self. So that way Bub Carrington can be more on ball and start being more of a point guard. Really like the pick.
I think they complement each other very well, especially. So you can put Bub at the point and you could have Trey Johnson at the 2. I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah. And then you have Alex Sars. He's covering the paint. So this is a great pick. I think I was listening to somebody on YouTube. I forgot his name, and he talked about how Trey Johnson is arguably the third best prospect in his mind. So for the
You know
Wizards
what's
to be,
funny?
yeah, what's up? What?
You know, when you look at the rookie of the year odds, you would think the number two would be obviously behind Cooper Flag. Number two best odds would be like VJ Edgecombe, maybe a Ace Bailey, perhaps, maybe a Concord up. No, it's Trey Johnson, the number 6 pick. He has the second highest odds to win rookie of the year behind Cooper Flag.
I'm surprised Con Knipple went over Trey Johnson. I would think that Trey Johnson would go over Con Knipple. I like Con Knipple, but man, at 5 though? No, at 4? At 4?
The Hornets needed that kind of player, so
shit, man. He's good, but that's Trey Johnson, what his weakness is definitely ball handling. He needs to get a lot better as a ball handler because it's a little too loose. He needs to tighten that ball handle and like you mentioned, the defensive side, but he has a lot of capabilities. He has a lot of potential because of his size.
Great shooter, man. Good grief.
He's 6.
The amount of separation he creates to get a shot off, I'd be like, ooh. I was watching that film. I was like,
yeah, his so without shoes, he's about, I think he's 6'4.5", and with shoes he's 6'6", which is great. You know, most people in the NBA they lie about their height. It happens. Yeah. Kobe Bryant, for all intended purposes, people say he was 6'6". He's actually 6'5" with shoes. He even said, I was looking at an article, and this was a long time ago, but he actually revealed that he's 6'4" without shoes. So he was really 6'5". That just lets you know that Trey Johnson at 6'6" at the guard spot, 2 guard spot, shooting guard spot, that is great. That is great. He's an average athlete, which is okay. 37.5-inch vertical is really good. And I just like his ability. I think he'll transition well to the NBA. He's nearly a 40% 3-point shooter. He can move without the basketball, which is very great when entering the NBA. He's gonna transition well. I have no doubt in my mind that he's going to be fine when he enters the NBA. So great pick. I want to talk about another player in this draft that everybody's talking about, and that's Ace Bailey. So reports came out that there was some teams in the top 5 that he didn't want to go to. One was, I think it was Philly. The other one was the Utah Jazz. And Danny Ainge said, I don't care. I'm still going to select you at 5, and you're going to come to our team, and you're going to play for our team. Well, things have been a bit rocky ever since the Utah Jazz selected Ace Bailey.
Oh, yeah.
You could tell by the image, the pic of him and Adam Silver. Let me, Ace Bailey, NBA draft. Let me get that real quick. Let me see. Like, I've never seen a prospect this mad for getting drafted. Look at this. Y'all see it right there. Like what are we doing? What were we doing? Come on, man.
Do not want to be there.
Come on, man.
And I don't blame him, but it's the draft. You gotta into the draft. If you ain't want Utah to be an option, shouldn't have declared.
So my point is that there reports have said there's been minimal contact with Ace Bailey camp and the Utah Jazz. That's a problem. Normally there would be interviews right after he gets drafted. I think there was an interview, but there's supposed to be another interview, and I think he didn't show up or something like that. Regardless, this is a problem. It's a distraction. We don't know if he's going to show up or not. I'll just say he will show up because it's a lot of money on the table, and I think it would be a bad idea to try to just carry this out, try to make a point. Like, dude, you're not that good enough to believe that you can force yourself out of the Utah Jazz and go to another team. I don't think that's going to happen at all. So just what is your thoughts on the news regarding Ace Bailey and him not being satisfied getting picked by the Utah Jazz?
Well, I understand why he would be upset going to the Utah Basketball Jazz because that is not a good team, not even a good organization, honestly. But you did into the draft, you knew the terms and conditions, and like you said, you weren't good enough to try to force your way to a certain team, especially teams out of the top 5. Like that was a stretch. Like that, if you were touted as a top 3 prospect going to the draft, the odds of you slipping past 5 is very slim. So him thinking he could get away with it, probably not the best idea. I do want to say this. I think people are being a little too harsh on this kid. I mean, he's 18 years old. I'm sure he don't even know what's really going on for. I think he's just doing what his agents or his people that represent him is telling him. Like he's just getting fed bad information, in my opinion. I don't think this is all on his own. Like I don't think he's leading the charge in this whole thing, this whole debacle. I really think it's an agent. If you look, as it was revealed a couple days ago, that his agent is Sharif Cooper's agent, and look where Sharif Cooper is at. Not in the NBA, I tell you that much. And this dude, like I don't even understand how he even got in contact with that dude. He doesn't look like nothing. He doesn't look like a reputable basketball representative. Clutch needs to step in and get this young man right before his career gets ruined by some dude who isn't certified to do this position. Seriously, because I hate to see this because Ace Bailey, he can be something in the league. He has the tools. He just needs to put it together. And I hate to see this young man's career derailed because of some bad management.
Yeah. I don't get it because yes, I understand Utah that they've been perennial losers for since they traded Gobert and Donovan Mitchell. I get it. And Utah is not the most welcoming of African American brothers. I will say that. But at the end of the day, he's going to have the opportunity to start. He's going to have the opportunity to get as many shots as he needs because I don't want Ace Bailey to go to a team where he's going to have to play a specific role initially. So, for instance, the 76ers. That's a team where I do not want Ace Bailey to be on the squad because he's going to come off the bench. He's not going to get a whole lot of shots. That's a team that's a no-go. But with this team, he's going to get a bunch of opportunities to shoot, to score, to develop his game, to play losing basketball. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. So for him to complain, you're going to be making close to $40 million?
Probably just don't want to play in Utah, to be honest.
That's literally what it is. Yeah. That's literally what it is. Because he would have been fine playing with the Wizards, but Utah, nah. I think it's really it's really just a lifestyle thing for him. That's what it seems like to me because the fit makes sense for his capabilities, for what he wants to do. The fit makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
that's your team. That is literally your team.
Jazz don't really have any bucket getters.
They don't, besides Lauri Markkanen, and he didn't have a good season last year. So you're coming to a situation where there's not a bona fide star level player. You can be the difference. This can be your franchise. And for you to just be like, nah, I don't want it. I don't want to go to Utah. Are you crazy? This is a great opportunity. And even Paul George was criticizing Ace Bailey after he talked glowingly about him some months ago. He was like, this ain't it. So, yeah, man, I don't know. He's just tripping right now. He's just tripping.
Yeah.
I want to give another mini rant. I want to bring up this name.
Okay.
I'm gonna be respectful because I don't in case this person sees this podcast and they're in a high ranking position. I know what you're about to say. They're on a high ranking position at ESPN. This executive by the name of Jimmy Pitaro. He handles a lot of ESPN affairs. He's a high ranking. He's the chairperson of ESPN, media executive. Stephen A talks about him a lot. He's his boss. Jimmy Pitaro, respectfully, you need to change something up about these programs on ESPN. Something has to change. Literally, the finals was trash. The product was trash. The analysis was trash. The analysts on there, minus maybe a couple, were trash. NBA draft was god awful. We need to change something up. What happened to the NBA draft that I loved back in 2013? Minus Bill Simmons. What happened to that NBA draft coverage? Because something is wrong. That was all-time garbage. Bad. I had to mute my screen. Monica McNutt, god awful. God awful. Where are the great journalists, sideline reporters? Where are they? Because they were non-existent in the NBA draft. That was terrible. The analysis, the analysts, Malika Andrews to Kendrick Perkins to whoever why was Bob Myers not on the main crew?
Yeah, that didn't make sense.
He literally was a GM. Former GM that created a dynasty. Why is he not on the main crew? Why is he with Stephen A on ABC? Why is Stephen A on any draft coverage? Why?
Like
nobody wants to see him.
He watched college basketball to be on the draft. Come on now.
Come on. What are we doing? He should not be on any draft coverage. I'm tired of seeing Stephen A. Jimmy Pitaro, what are we doing? Do all you care about is hot takes and viral clips? What is this, WWE? What are we doing? Get it together. What happened? Where are the journalists? Where is Tim Legler? Where is Jay Williams? Where are the basketball minds that understand the game of basketball, that can speak their mind fluently without sounding like a WWE wrestler? I'm tired of Kendrick Perkins. I'm tired of all these stupid personalities. Let's get back to professionalism. Let's get back to great analysis of basketball.
Does NBA TV do their own coverage like how the NFL Network does?
I think they used to. I haven't watched NBA TV in so long, so I don't know. But okay. I think they might. But I haven't seen much of it. Okay, it's been so long. I really don't remember.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I didn't think Monica did that bad. I don't know. Maybe I wasn't paying enough attention.
You were not paying attention. It was god off. It was so awkward.
Really?
Bro.
What was so bad? What was so bad?
Her questions. She you could tell she was very nervous. She didn't look all that comfortable with how she wants to ask the questions, who she's delivering the mic to answer the questions. It was just so many things that just didn't come off natural to her. She looked like a novice.
Well, is this her first year doing it?
I think she's done sideline reporting before. She's done that type of stuff before. So for her to look that uncomfortable was very appalling to me. I was like, what? And she's done broadcast television before. She
does radio for the
Knicks. Yeah. So I was confused. I was perplexed because she's done this for many years.
Programming thing.
It might be a programming thing, but she was very uncomfortable, and I was cringing.
I wasn't. I just want to see the picks at this point, all that extra stuff. And speaking, NBA, you got your ESPN. I'm gonna get my NBA rant off. NBA, this draft did not need to be. Go back to one night. Like seriously, We waiting all day for a pick to get made, bro. The NFL draft was moving faster than the NBA draft, and it's only 30 teams picking. Like, there's no way. We sitting here waiting and waiting and waiting, and then it's weird because they announcing picks that already happened, and I'm just like, I'm confused. What is going on? Then, oh my gosh, this is the worst thing. Why are teams of traded players? Why are they wearing the hat of the team that's trading them? That's the dumbest thing ever. Like, it's so stupid. Please, like, it doesn't take anything for you to just swap the hat out.
Mm-hmm.
You announce that the trade is on behalf of blah blah, the pick is be on behalf of blah 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 blah. Just put the traded for teams hat on the player. Why are we doing this goofy stuff? It's so dumb. Adam Silver, what are you doing? Like, it baffles me. This has been a problem for years. I don't know why they do that. In the 90s and stuff, like when Kobe with the Hornets hat, okay, you would think, maybe we should change that. No, it's been the same since. It's the dumbest thing ever. It's silly.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, I think it's time to transition. I want to get to a little bit more. We'll transition to the trades now. We're just going to talk about something else, but we'll transition to trades now. So, big trades happened this past week. Oh, yeah. You know what? I forgot. Congratulations to the Oklahoma City Thunder for winning an NBA championship. Last week, we made our predictions. We weren't able to react. But, yeah, I had OKC winning and going away. They won Game 7, so salute to them. Congratulations, Shea. He did his thing. Very deserving. Had one of the best guard seasons we've seen in recent memory. So salute to Shea Gilgeous on that one. Salute to Indiana Pacers. Salute to Tyrese Halliburton for thugging it out. Unfortunately, the worst possible thing happened. He tore his Achilles. That's why it's never a good idea to play on a calf strain. But he's a competitor. He's a guy that it's Game 7, so he's going to try to do whatever he can to get it going. And for him to put his body on the line, I salute to Tyrese Halliburton, because a lot of these old heads, they like to criticize these players for not playing hurt, for not putting their body on the line. And Tyrese Halliburton did that, but unfortunately, he cost himself next season. So I'm praying for a speedy recovery for Tyrese Halliburton. And yeah, man, this is we should celebrate both teams, even the losers, because they played well up until the very end. So salute to them.
Had a good run.
They had a good run, yeah. So I want to transition to the NBA trades. Big trade happened. I think it was during the day of Game 7, and that was Kevin Durant to the Rockets. Yeah. I want to ask you this: do you like the fit with KD on the Rockets?
Yes. Hands down, yes. They needed a bucket getter. They needed someone who's reliable, who's going to shoot efficiently game in and game out, and is going to give good, solid effort on the defensive end. Jalen Green, while he is young, he's athletic. He has the tools to be. He just can't. He just hasn't put it together. And the Rockets are in a position to where they can compete soon. And why not get a guy like KD, who's still like arguably a top 10 player in the league, to go and bring on your team? So really bring that vet presence, that vet leadership, as well as being reliable down the stretch of the game, and would help Amin Thompson's development as a guard. Because I don't think he was going to get. He wasn't. I don't think Amin would be able to reach the heights he wants to go with Jalen Green playing the way he's been playing. Like it's just no. So I like the trade. They gave up, I believe they gave up Jalen Green and was it Dylan Brooks?
Dylan Brooks, yep.
I mean, I don't hate it. I mean, I don't know what the Suns plan on doing, but because then they went and traded for Mark Williams. So I don't know what the Suns got going on. If I'm Devin Booker, I'm like, trade me.
Big facts. I like the fit as well. I think what this does, for the first time in a while, Kevin Durant doesn't feel like he needs to be the top defender. He needs to be the top wing defender to guard the other person's best wing. So I like Kevin Durant. He's all he has to really focus on is scoring. You know what I mean? You got Fred VanVleet, who can handle the point guard slide. Then you had Amin Thompson, who's going to handle the opposing player, the best wing or guard. So I like this for Kevin Durant. He's not going to have to worry about so much besides what he's great at, and that is scoring. This adds a lot to the Houston Rockets' chances of potentially competing for a championship. Last year, a lot of what was the problem was they didn't have a go-to scorer. Jalen Green went ghost during a majority of those games against Golden State. They made it to Game 7, which salute to them, but what happened down the stretch? No Jalen Green. He choked. I think he averaged 13 points during that series. He had one great game, and then that was that. He went ghost. So they needed Kevin Durant. They needed a guy. He is up there in age, about 37, 38 years old, but he's still giving you 25 a game on great efficiency.
Too,
and he's gonna be great. He's gonna be great for this offense. Not the greatest offense. He's not the greatest schemer offensively. He's more that defensive-minded guy. But he'll get the best out of this team, and Kevin Durant's going to be a great fit. I love it. I love that they were able to keep Jabari Smith. He's going to be tremendous. 3-and-D guy.
Jabari Smith.
Still kept Reed Shepard.
Yeah.
The only guys that were gone was Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks. Still got Tari Eason, another great defender for them, and he can stretch the floor. So this team is really, really going to be good. They still have Steven Adams.
I don't think the Rockets are done.
Yeah, we'll see. Because
I heard they try to trade Cam Whitmore. Why? I'm not too sure, but
maybe that's Cam Whitmore that wants to be traded because he probably wants a bigger role. He's been complaining in the past.
Hey, listen, we got room for you in Washington, brother.
That would be a good fit. That would be a good fit. But yeah, man, Sengun. I'm one of those guys with Sengun is a good player. He's a good player, but I never look at him as a number one option. I think he's going to be a great complementary player. He's a Pau Gasol to me. He's one of those dudes that if you put him next to a 1A caliber player, MVP caliber player, he's going to be tremendous. He's going to be a good number 2. He just needs to keep developing. At times against the Warriors, especially against physicality, he was having a hard time dealing with physicality. So he needs to work on that. And once he figures that out, he'll be an all-around great player. He's actually an underrated defender at his spot. He's actually pretty decent defender. So I think with Sengun, he'll only get better with Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant actually, he likes Sengun's game. He's talked in the past how much he likes Sengun's game. So I think they're going to gel very well. And Fred VanVleet, oh my God. I don't know how I feel about Fred VanVleet because in the playoffs against Golden State, he did show up certain games. He did have really good games, but during the regular season, oh my gosh, like he was just, whoo. There'd be games where you looking at him like, yo, is he the worst point guard in the league? Worst starting point guard in the league? But yeah, man, I like this team a lot. So that's all I gotta say on that matter.
Good trade.
Another trade happened as well that scratched a lot of people's heads, but if you really think about the fit, it makes sense. And that was Desmond Bane to the Orlando Magic. Yeah. We'll get to the whole thing about the Eastern Conference in a little bit, but with everything that transpired with Tatum and Tyrese Halliburton, this trade really helps Orlando's shooting tremendously because Caldwell Pope had a down here, and they just didn't have enough shooting. Anthony Black and all those other dudes, they just couldn't shoot the ball. Franz Wagner, all those dudes couldn't shoot the ball. So you bring in Desmond Bane, one of the best shooters in the NBA, it's going to help their shooting tremendously. Do you think that the Desmond Bane trade will significantly help them to the point where now we have to consider them as one of the favorites in the Eastern Conference, or do you think they still need to make some more moves in order to get into that conversation?
I think they need to make more moves to get in that conversation, but this does tremendously help the spacing because before they really had no shooting threats on the perimeter. Now they got a guy that's a borderline 50, 40, 90 dude that can average 20 a game, as we saw he did in Memphis. So, and he can play off ball as well. So I like the trade. I know people say they gave up a lot for him, but like we just saw Mikal Bridges the haul he got, and we saw how he ended up playing in the playoffs at times. It was like, ooh. So I like the trade for Orlando. I mean, why not take that risk? Shoot, you ain't nothing ever gets done by being scary. So if you don't want to give up the capital to go get a guy that can average 20 a game on really good efficiency, I don't know what to tell you.
They do need more shooting. I don't think Desmond Bane solves all their shooting problems. I think they need about maybe 2 more shooters to really solidify their team as a decent 3-point shooting team. Because if you still look at their starting lineup, Jalen Suggs got injured during the season, so Jalen Suggs was averaging 16 points last year. I didn't even know he was averaging 16 points. That's crazy. But Jalen Suggs, he's not a good 3-point shooter. Paulo is below average. Like, he's about 33, 34%. Franz Wagner, he didn't have a good year shooting. And obviously Wendell Carter, he doesn't shoot all that well at all. So that's still a problem for them. They're going to have to figure it out in free agency or through trades, because right now they're still not on a level where we need them from a shooting perspective. So when I see all these people saying, oh, Magic are now the favorites in the Eastern Conference, I'm like,
who said that?
Hold on. Colin Coward and some other people.
Oh, goodness.
We'll get to that a little bit later. But regardless, I'm not going to automatically put them on the favorites or the second best team until they solve the 3-point problem. They don't have to be a great shooting team. They don't even have to be a good shooting team. Can they be average? Can you be average? Can you be 15-ish? That's what I'm looking for. That's all I'm asking. And right now, I don't think they're still average. I think this is still a problem. This is still a problem. So, anywho, speaking on the Eastern Conference, as we know from these past playoffs, Tyrese Halliburton and Jason Tatum, unfortunately, went down with significant injuries to their Achilles. So they're going to be out for the entire season and possibly out for a portion of even the season after. But talking about next season, okay, let me get my. Okay. What does the Eastern Conference look like without Halliburton and Tatum?
In my opinion, the Eastern Conference is going to come down to 3 teams, that being the Knicks, Cavs, and the Pistons, because those are the healthiest team with the most high-end talent. The Bucks could be a sleeper. We just got to see, but Dame went out with Achilles injury as well, so I don't know what they're going to do there. But as of right now, I'm really looking at 3 teams. I got respect for the Magic. They could probably give one of them teams a good series, but I don't think they're there just yet. Like we just said with the shooting aspect. So the Easter, it's going to be kind of smelly next year for the Eastern Conference, because they're going to have to start putting teams like the Hawks in the playoffs. Like, ooh,
yeah,
I'm not a fan of the Eastern Conference next year. It's going to be pretty bad hoops.
Yeah, so my thing is, I do think Orlando, they'll definitely be a top 4 seed for sure. So I'll put Orlando in that group just because of the fact that with no Indiana, with no Boston, I just think that just elevates Orlando, because Orlando, when they were healthy, they were one of the best teams in the league. I just think the real contenders in my mind as of this moment, even without a coach, I like the Knicks. I like the Pistons is an interesting one. I still think the Pistons are in a similar boat with Orlando. They're not a good 3-point shooting team as well. I love Kay Cunningham's game. Turnover prone a little bit. He needs to simmer down on the turnovers a little bit. But for the most part, I really love Kay Cunningham's game. And Jaden Ivey's going to come back from that injury. Hopefully he'll be the same player, if not better, coming off of that injury. And Jalen Duren is pretty decent. I like him at the center spot. They have a great defense. And then the other team you mentioned the Cleveland Cavaliers. That's another team where last year we thought they were going to face Boston in the ECF. That didn't happen because of Indiana Pacers. what are the Cavs going to do to improve as a squad? So when you enter the playoffs, you don't have the same situation happen where a team comes in that was not favored and blitz you and you lose in five. They have to figure out something because I don't believe Garland and Mitchell. I don't think that's a formula that can win big long term. So do you trade
Well,
Garland? What do you do? What do you do?
in my opinion, I they made. I think the trade they made today was a good step in the right direction. Getting rid of Isaac Okoro for Lonzo Ball, because Isaac Okoro, while he was a good defender, he really wasn't give you much on the offensive end scoring wise. If you're gonna get a dude that's not gonna contribute a whole bunch of points offensively but play defense, at least get a guy that can handle the ball and run and control and run an offense. And what I think this trade does with Lonzo Ball on the Cavs, it doesn't it puts you in a position where come playoff time, you don't have to keep Darius Garland on the court at all times, because Darius Garland is a liability on the defensive end. He will get played off the floor in certain stretches, like we saw against the Pacers. Like Darius Garland,
Yeah,
where was he
yeah,
at?
I get it. Yeah, you're
Exactly.
absolutely
So
right. Absolutely
So
right.
like Lonzo Ball, he probably is a little hindered. This would be a second season coming off that knee injury, so he's probably getting a little more comfortable. He could trust it a little more, and so he'll give you much more on the defensive end, and he could run an offense. So this is a great move in my opinion for a guy that could come off the bench. So now that second unit is getting even stronger to win, and
Hmm.
now you can make rotations a little more. You could change your rotation. I think this is a great move for the Cavs. So I would also, I still would like them to get another guy that can be a shot creator outside of Donovan Mitchell. But unfortunately,
Yeah.
you're probably going to have to part with one of your bigs. They're not trading Evan Mobley. Non-negotiable. I'm not trading Evan Mobley unless I'm getting a
No.
bona fide superstar. But probably gonna have to get rid of a Jared Allen. Maybe even have to get rid of DeAndre Hunter in the process, even though you just traded for him in the last season. But hey, if you want to get to that next step, this is the opportunity to go all in. Like honestly, I'm not trying to play for 2020, 2027. No, I'm trying to go all in right now. They got to do whatever it takes because the East has never been this hindered before.
You make a lot of great points. The Jared Allen point, we see how valuable double big lineups are, but when you're somebody that is hurting the spacing of a team on the floor and you're
Think
starting for that team and making a bunch of money, it's going to hinder you a lot. So I
think about
yeah,
OKC. They was playing big. They was playing big ball up until they ran into the Pacers. They had to go smaller. You wasn't
that's a
seeing
fact.
a bunch of Chet Hartenstein on the court together at the same time, and they had to get small.
And I think putting let's say they put DeAndre Hunter is 6'8". I mean, that's pretty decent for a power forward,
Mm-hmm.
and he's listed as a power forward. So maybe you want to start Hunter at the 4 and have Mobley at the 5. I think at this point, I think Mobley will be fine at the 5. I think he'll be solid. He's very talented in itself, and he would be a matchup problem for almost everybody in the league. So I like that. Who would take Allen in that scenario in a trade? I don't know, but I like your suggestion though, because they need to shuffle something up. They have to shuffle something up because last year was atrocious. They won 60 something games. They won 64 games, but the
Yeah,
playoffs rolled around and guys were getting hurt. Even when they came back, it just for
it
whatever
wasn't the
reason they
same.
couldn't get
Yeah,
anything going, and Donovan Mitchell was left on an island by himself trying to carry a squad. So yeah, the Lonzo Ball point, great, because that allows Donovan Mitchell to not have to worry about being the playmaker all the time, being the facilitator. Now he can just be a regular scorer. So this, yeah, yeah, that's all I'm gonna say on that matter. Let me see what else was I gonna say. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. We said the contenders. All right. My last topic I want to talk about. So I've been watching a lot of historical games from historical players. Um, I actually watch 60s basketball.
Okay.
Not the greatest, not the greatest. I ain't gonna lie. It was a tough watch. I had to
I
speed
bet it
up.
was.
I had to speed up the video a little bit. I had to press the press the skip tab a little bit. So I was watching Bill Russell. I was watching some of Bill Russell's old games. They actually have them on NBA.com and also
Oh,
on
okay.
YouTube as well. So I was watching Bill Russell. I was watching Wilt Chamberlain. It's not a lot of Wilt Chamberlain footage. It's highlights. There's one game. It was him when he was on the Philadelphia 76ers versus Bill Russell. I think it was game 4 or game 5 or something. That was the year Wilt Chamberlain won a championship. I watched that. I watched Bill Russell twice when he faced the Lakers in finals. One year, I think it was in 63 maybe or 62. One year it was I think it was Red Auerbach's last year coaching in the league. So here's where I'm going with this. Bill Russell. Bill Russell is a legend. Bill Russell is an all-time great. Bill Russell, I salute him for what he did as an activist. I salute Bill Russell for just bringing the game to where it is now. If there was a Mount Rushmore for NBA players, Bill Russell would be on that Mount Rushmore. With that being said, this is a preview of next week when we do our top 10 best players of all time list. I can't put Bill Russell in my top 10 all time. I'm sorry. That's just me. After what I saw, after all the games that I saw, and I went and looked at the advanced analytics as well. Win shares, true shooting, offensive win shares, defensive win shares. I even looked at his accolades. To me, he's not a top 10 player all time. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And here's why. So, Bill Russell, if you pay attention, his offensive game, he doesn't have an offensive game. He has a hook shot, a turnaround hook shot, and even that doesn't work most of the time. His true shooting percentage was god awful. Matter of fact, let me pull it up right now. Let me pull it up.
I'm mad somebody went and logged that stat though. They had to watch a lot of games.
So true shooting. By the way, true shooting takes account 3-point, 2-point, and
it was no
free throws. There wasn't free throws, so it wasn't 3-pointers. So all it was free throws and 2-point shots, which is even worse. The fact that all we're logging is 2-pointers and all right, here we go. Let me share my screen real quick. Okay. Let me see. Advanced analytics. So here we go. So true shooting. Look at this. His best year was 50%. That's bad. That's bad, Bryant. Terrible. That's bad. Look at the other years. 45. These are the years he was considered the MVP. MVP, right? 46% MVP. 46% MVP. 47. Come on, man. and then win shares. That's pretty, that's pretty decent. But when you go to Wilt Chamberlain, you would think that a guy that only won 2 rings would have less win shares than a guy that won 11. It's not the case. Wilt Chamberlain by far had a better win share, offensive win share. Now, obviously, Bill Russell, the greatest defensive player ever relative to his era in other eras. Relative to his era. That's all I'm basing it on. That means however great he was, I'm comparing it to how great he was to other people in other eras. And he was the best. He was the best, greatest defender ever. There's no argument about that because every year he was with Boston, they were the number 1 defense in the league. So no argument there. But my thing, how I grade players, I value offense significantly more than defense. If I would put a percentage on it, I would say offense is 65%, defense is 35%. I think that's 100% overall. Right. Yeah. So that's how I grade. That's how I grade. Bill Russell was an awful offensive player. He would get points from free throws. He would get points from other guys, would set him up. Bob Cousy, who was an excellent passer, by the way. I was surprised. I was like, damn, he was actually a pretty good passer for his day. Bob Cousy would help him out. He would get offensive rebounds, put it back up like that. That's how he would get most of his points. It was not because of he's just a talented one-on-one player. He's a talented isolation player. That was not the case. So he was an awful offensive player. All-time great defensive player. Who does that sound like? Who does that sound like?
Draymond Green.
Bingo. And also Ben Wallace.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Ben Wallace and Draymond Green. Draymond Green is a great player. He was great for his time back in the dynasty days. But do we ever put Draymond Green as top 20 player all time? No. No, because we watched the games. We saw that he wasn't the top 2 option. He wasn't even the 3rd option as a scorer. When I was watching those Celtics games, guess what? It was Bob Cousy. It was Sam Jones. By the way, Sam Jones was a bucket back in the day. It was Sam Jones. It was Jeff Hornacek. Not Jeff Hornacek. It was Havlicek. Havlicek, by the way. It was those guys. They were the options on offense. How can I put you in my top 10 if the offense wasn't built around you? If you were not the focal point of the offense? There's no way. There is no way. I don't care that you won 11 chips. I respect you for what you did for the game, how you elevated the game. You brought it to prominence more than ever before. The sacrifices you made, obviously dealing with all the things off the court, even on the court, spewing racial stuff to him, overt racism. Salute to him for that. But strictly on the court, when we're talking about on the court, Bill Russell was not that dude except defense and rebounding. And even as a rebounder, he wasn't the best rebounder in his time. It was Wilt Chamberlain.
Yeah.
So what are we talking about? What are we talking about? And to top it all off, Brian, during that era, big men had a significant advantage offensively, defensively, because of the rules. All they had to do was
they can literally camp in the restricted area. Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't. There was 3-second rule. There was still 3-second rule back then. I think it was in the 1940s they implemented 3-second rule. I did some research on it too. By the way, I did my research. So there was a 3-second rule. But if you were a guy that was over 6'7", good, pretty good athletically during that time, and can block shots, you were a good defender. You were. There was no switching involved. They weren't going to hunt people on switches. They couldn't set screens. The screens that they were setting, they were just hugging people. Literally, it was just hugging people. They could not set screens. So the offenses were easy to defend. What's that hard? And the guards, they weren't allowed to do crossovers between the legs, behind the back.
You had to dribble with your hand on top of the ball.
Yes. They weren't allowed to do crossovers because they would call it palming or carrying. Yep. So think about that. You couldn't do a crossover. You couldn't do between the leg. You couldn't do behind the back. You can only dribble one way. Guys would just dribble with the right hand or the left hand the entire time down the floor. And Jerry West was averaging 30 doing that. When I was watching the games, the people that I respected more were the guards and the wings of that era. Jerry West, Sam Jones for the Boston Celtics. Those were the people I respected even more because they could only dribble with one hand. They couldn't cross over. They couldn't do none of that. So what TJ McConnell is doing with the Pacers right now, that's what they were doing. You know, TJ McConnell, he's not going to do a crossover. He's not going to do between the legs. He's not going to do much of any of this stuff. That's what Jerry West and them was doing. And they were averaging 30 points a game. While Bill Russell, all he had to worry about was, protect the paint. I don't have to worry about, is Am I going to have to guard this guy in space? Am I going to have to switch on this guy? He didn't have to worry about that at all. And you're telling me he's a top 10 player all time? Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Yeah. Bill Russell has been out of my top 10 for quite some time. So, yeah, I have no argument for you on that. I don't care how many rings he got. When you put it in context, it's like, compared to other top 10 dudes, like, it's like, all right, let's start getting serious here.
Brian, let me tell you something else that I noticed while watching the games. This whole argument, oh my God, man, back in the day, it was physical. It was so physical about back in the day. They wouldn't let you do anything. Let me tell you something. The 60s was arguably the least physical era in basketball that I've seen. Literally, you pass gas, it's a foul. People complaining about now with the fouls. Back then, back then, they would call a foul. You just got your wrist, got your forearm, etc., your elbow, like a light tap. It's a foul. And you're telling me that's more impressive than what these guys are doing now? Get out of here.
Yeah,
I don't want to hear
it. They're drunk. Whoever said that.
The biggest lie ever told in NBA history was that the 60s was this physical era. If you go into the paint, they're going to maul you or something. That's just not true. That is a complete lie. They weren't doing none of that. Guys weren't even going into the paint. It was all mid-range shots. All mid-range shots. So I don't want to hear that, man. I don't want to hear that. I've seen Wilt Chamberlain in the same era dominate, have an offensive game, be a good defender. I don't want to hear the excuses from Bill Russell. Anybody that I'm gonna close the podcast on this. Anybody that has Bill Russell in their top 5 lets me know how they think the game of basketball. Lets me know
top
that
5 is egregious.
Top 5, top 2, even close to Jordan, even close to Magic, even close to any of these guys. Lets me know you did not watch any 60s basketball, and if you did, you were 5 years old. You don't remember exactly what transpired during that time. Go back and watch the film, and you can't tell me Bill Russell is a top 10 player all time.
They can tell you, they just be wrong.
You can't, they can't have a good enough argument to convince me that Bill Russell is a top 10 player all time, except bringing up his defense and the rings. And you know how I feel about ring culture. I'm going to end it on that.
Aaron versus the Unks. Aaron versus the old heads.
Yes. We're going, next week when we get to our top 10s, I'm going to have something else to say too. But we'll end it on that note. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below, hit the notification bell, follow the socials as well. We'll see you guys in the next episode of Courtside Podcast. And also check out our NFL channel. We'll be doing a live stream a little bit later. Check that out as well. Thank you guys for watching, and peace.
Salute.
All right.